Diagon Alley has existed for so long that some say its stones hold secrets that not even the goblins dare to record. Get ready, because today we're going to dive into the deepest and most fascinating secrets of the most magical place in the wizarding world. Diagon Alley. This is not just the story of any commercial street. It's the story of a magical refuge that has existed for centuries, invisible to Muggle eyes, guarding unimaginable treasures and secrets that changed the fate of the wizarding world forever. Before we begin this magical journey, I need your support. If you're passionate about stories from the Harry Potter universe like me, click that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this video? I want to know where the witches and wizards who follow this channel are. Let's create a magical community together. Now, take a deep breath and get ready. Let's begin our journey through the place where everything starts for any self-respecting witch or wizard, Diagon Alley. The history of Diagon Alley begins long before Harry Potter was born, even before his parents existed. We're talking about centuries ago, when London was still a medieval city and wizards needed to live side by side with Muggles without revealing their true nature. Imagine the difficulty. How to create a shopping centre where wizards could buy potion ingredients, flying broomsticks, and spellbooks without Muggles noticing. The answer was to create a place that existed simultaneously with the Muggle world, but completely hidden from it. Diagon Alley is a cobblestoned wizarding shopping area located in London, England, behind a pub called the Leaky Cauldron. But don't be fooled into thinking it's just an ordinary street. The alley is completely hidden from the Muggle world through powerful concealment spells, being essentially the centre of wizarding London. It's a popular historical theory that the oldest building in Diagon Alley is Gringotts Bank, and that the other shops grew around it over the centuries. The foundation of Diagon Alley as we know it today is intrinsically linked to the Statute of Secrecy, implemented at the end of the 17th century. When this statute was imposed, requiring the wizarding world to separate completely from the Muggle world, Diagon Alley was hidden through the use of many powerful concealment spells. The then Minister of Magic, Ulick Gamp, agreed to give the owner of the Leaky Cauldron the crucial responsibility of letting people into Diagon Alley through the pub's backyard. This decision forever shaped how wizards would access their main shopping centre. The Leaky Cauldron thus became much more than a simple bar. It's believed to have been built in the early 1500s, along with the rest of the wizarding street. Its true address is number 1, Diagon Alley, and it serves as a portal between two worlds. When Harry Potter first saw the entrance from the Muggle side, he had the feeling that only he and Hagrid, among all the people passing on Charing Cross Road, could see the place. And he was right. To an ordinary Muggle, the space where the Leaky Cauldron stands simply doesn't exist. The street jumps from the number before to the number after, as if that piece of reality had been carefully cut out. But to a witch or wizard, the pub appears clear as day, small, dark and shabby, squeezed between a bookstore and a record shop. Inside, the atmosphere is welcoming and peculiar, with walls connected by wooden beams and tall Gothic windows. There, wizards of all ages gather to drink butterbeer, eat stews, and discuss the affairs of the day. But the true secret of the Leaky Cauldron is in the back. A small walled courtyard, apparently with no exit, guards the entrance to Diagon Alley. And here's the magic. It's not just a matter of opening a door. There's a specific code, a magical sequence that needs to be executed. With a wand, you need to tap specific bricks in the wall. 3 bricks up from the trash can, 2 bricks to the side. The bricks then begin to move, shaking and writhing, until they form an archway wide enough for even Hagrid to pass through. And on the other side of that arch, the most spectacular sight any young wizard could have, Diagon Alley in all its glory. When you cross that brick wall for the first time, the impact is overwhelming. Suddenly you're on a cobblestoned street that stretches ahead, winding out of sight. Shops, shops, and more shops. On both sides of the street, quaint establishments occupy old buildings, some tilted at impossible angles, as if defying the laws of physics. And they really do defy them, because magic keeps each structure standing, however crooked it may seem. The alley consists of a maze of shops, restaurants, and other attractions, many with colourful tables and umbrellas in front of them. During the days and weeks before classes begin at Hogwarts, the place gets absolutely packed with witches and wizards, young and old, all rushing to buy cauldrons, books, wands, and owls. But the shops stay open year-round, serving the London wizarding community with all kinds of imaginable and some unimaginable goods. Let's begin our tour with the most imposing establishment of all, Gringotts Bank. Almost halfway down Diagon Alley, near its intersection with Nocturne Alley, stands a building that leaves all other shops in the shadows. An imposing white marble edifice, Gringotts Wizarding Bank. The bank stands out above the neighbouring shops like a white and gleaming giant, its columns reaching toward the sky, its polished bronze doors reflecting the sunlight. Gringotts Bank was founded in 1474 by a goblin named Gringott, and since then has been the only bank in the British wizarding world. In front of the main entrance, a white staircase leads to the polished bronze doors, guarded by a goblin dressed in scarlet and gold uniform. But during periods of danger, such as in the Second Wizarding War, the goblin was replaced by wizards carrying probity probes, trying to detect any deception. On the silver doors leading to the main hall, words are engraved, a warning that every visitor should take seriously. Enter, stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay most dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned, beware of finding more than treasure there. It's not an empty warning. Gringotts Bank is, without a shadow of doubt, the safest place in the wizarding world. Some say it would be easier to break into Hogwarts than to rob Gringotts. And it's not for nothing. The goblins who run the bank have developed over centuries security systems that would make any muggle vault look like an unlocked shoebox. The main hall of Gringotts is magnificent. In contrast to the white marble exterior, the interior has an air of sobriety and power. Hundreds of goblins work there, sitting on high stools behind long counters, writing in large ledgers, weighing coins on brass scales, and examining precious stones with jewelers' loops. 4 giant chandeliers hang from the very high ceiling. Together, these chandeliers have 62,000 crystals, casting a cold and calculated light over everything. Goblins are the natural guardians of wealth. Short, with pale skin, pointed ears and noses, very long feet and fingers, and generally bald, they are creatures of sharp intelligence and long memory. Very intelligent, they possess their own magic, different from wizard magic. They are shrewd, with extraordinary monetary skills and masters in the forging of metals, mainly silver, which is why they manufacture the coins of the wizarding world. Bronze knuts, silver sickles, and gold galleons. But the relationship between goblins and wizards has never been simple. Considered by many wizards as inferior beings, goblins openly show their distaste for this attitude. They have their own code of honor, their own laws. Goblins possess a code that prohibits them from speaking about the bank's secrets and consider it vile betrayal to break any part of such code. In 1865, the Ministry of Magic ceded total control of Gringotts to the goblins, a measure that is still criticized today by some wizards who believe that wizards should control wizarding wealth. But the true secret of Gringotts isn't in the main hall. It's in the depths. Behind the hall, a door leads to stone passages lit by flaming torches. These passages descend, descend, and descend even further, penetrating miles below the surface of London. It's a labyrinth of winding passages, a vast complex of interconnected tracks where carts controlled by goblins run at dizzying speeds. These carts are fundamental to the bank's security. They can only be controlled by goblins and move so quickly that passengers don't have time to see what's around them, preventing them from memorizing the route. And what's being protected down there? The vaults. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of vaults, each containing the wealth and treasures of wizarding families. The vaults have different security levels. The lower security vaults closer to the surface use simple keys, but the maximum security vaults, located in the most remote depths, have protections beyond imagination. To open a maximum security vault, a goblin must touch the door. If anyone who isn't a goblin tries to do the same, they'll be swallowed by the door and trapped inside. And how often do the goblins check if anyone is trapped? Well, that's a question better not asked, but the security doesn't stop there. When an invasion is detected, the thief's downfall is activated. It's a magical waterfall that runs through one of the main passages. Anything that passes through it loses all enchantments and disguises. Polyjuice potions are undone, invisibility cloaks stop working, illusion spells are destroyed. It's impossible to fool the thief's downfall. And in the deepest levels, the oldest and most valuable vaults are guarded by dragons. Dragons, immense, dangerous, kept chained in the dark for decades, trained to associate certain sounds with pain. The goblins control these magnificent creatures using symbols that only they possess. The noise makes the dragons retreat, conditioned by years of subtle torture. It's cruel, but effective. Some vaults also have the Gemino and Flagrante curses. This means that anything a thief touches will multiply infinitely and become hot enough to burn flesh. The thief would literally be crushed and burned alive by flaming copies of the treasure they tried to steal. It's a horrible death, designed to discourage even the boldest. Despite all this security, there were invasions. The first recorded was on July 31st, 1991, when Quirinus Quirrell, under Voldemort's control, tried to steal the Philosopher's Stone from Vault 713. But Hagrid had emptied the vault a few hours earlier at Dumbledore's request. The attempt failed. The second invasion was much more dramatic and occurred on May 1st, 1998. Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley, with the help of the Goblin Griphook, invaded the bank to steal a Horcrux from the Lestrange vault. Hermione used Polyjuice Potion to disguise herself as Bellatrix Lestrange. They passed through the thief's downfall, faced the guardian dragon, and managed to escape riding on the creature's back, which broke its chains and exploded through Gringotts' roof in broad daylight. It was the most spectacular invasion in the bank's history. Now let's leave Gringotts and explore the other wonders of Diagon Alley. Right after the bank doors, on the right, we find the most traditional and respected shop in the entire alley, Ollivander's. Ollivander's Wand Shop is the only wand shop in Diagon Alley. Above the door, in peeling gold letters, it reads, Ollivander's, makers of fine wands, since 382 BC, 382 before Christ. That means the shop is over 2,400 years old. If the theory is correct, Ollivander's may be the oldest building in Diagon Alley, even predating Gringotts. The shop's window consists of a solitary wand on top of a faded purple cushion in a dusty window. There's no flashy advertising, no colourful posters. The modesty of the window is purposeful. Ollivander's doesn't need advertising. Every British witch and wizard buys their wand there. It's a tradition that spans millennia. When you enter Ollivander's, the first thing you notice is the silence. The shop is small and empty, except for a single high chair in the corner. But the walls, the walls. Thousands of narrow boxes containing wands are stacked to the ceiling. From floor to ceiling, on all walls, layers and layers of boxes, each containing a unique wand, waiting for the right wizard. And here's where the true secret of Ollivanders comes in. The wand chooses the wizard. It's not the wizard who chooses the wand. Garrick Ollivander, the owner during Harry Potter's time, inherited from his ancestors the deep knowledge of wand-making. Each wand is made from a specific wood, with a specific magical core. The woods have different properties: oak for strength, willow for healing, holly for protection. The cores can be phoenix feather, unicorn hair, dragon heartstring, among other rare materials. The process of choosing a wand is almost ritualistic. Ollivander asks for information about the wizard, which is their dominant hand, their goals, their personality. Then he begins to bring boxes, one after another. The customer tries wand after wand. Some do nothing. Others produce disastrous results, breaking vases or creating explosions. But when the right wand touches the right wizard's hand, something magical happens. Sparks come from the tip, a feeling of warmth rises up the arm, and both the wizard and Ollivander know. This is the wand. Harry Potter's wand was particularly interesting. It was holly and phoenix feather, 11 inches, nice and supple. But what made that wand special was its core. The feather came from Fawkes, Dumbledore's phoenix, and Fawkes had given only 2 feathers. The other was in Tom Riddle's wand. Yes, Voldemort's wand was Harry's wand's brother. Ollivander never forgot selling that first wand, and when he sold the second to Harry, he knew that extraordinary things were coming. During the Second Wizarding War, Ollivander was kidnapped by the Death Eaters. His shop was closed, the windows broken, the door forced open. Voldemort wanted to understand why his wand had failed against Harry, why the brother wands couldn't duel properly against each other. Ollivander was tortured for information, kept prisoner at Malfoy Manor, along with other enemies of Voldemort. He was only rescued when Harry, Ron and Hermione escaped from the mansion. After the war, Ollivander returned and reopened his shop, continuing the millennial tradition. But not all magic in Diagon Alley is serious and traditional. Let's now go to the complete opposite of Ollivander's in terms of atmosphere. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, the twins Fred and George Weasley's shop. If Ollivander's is quiet and dusty, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes is noisy and explodes in colour. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes was established by Fred and George Weasley shortly after they left Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The twins abandoned school in the middle of their 7th year in spectacular fashion, mounting broomsticks and flying out of Hogwarts, while magical fireworks exploded behind them, leaving Headmistress Umbridge furious. With the money that Harry Potter secretly gave them from his Triwizard Tournament winnings, the twins established the shop of their dreams. And what a shop! The facade is impossible to ignore. In a Diagon Alley that was becoming gloomy during Voldemort's return, with shops closing and wanted posters covering the shop windows, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes caught attention like a fireworks display. Vibrant colours, animated mannequins in the windows, explosions of light and sound. It was a statement. We're not afraid. Inside, the shop is even more impressive. Colourful shelves go from floor to ceiling, full of the most bizarre and fun inventions ever created. Extendable ears, which allow you to hear conversations at a distance. Shield hats that protect against spells. Puking pastilles, which make you vomit convincingly to get out of class. Spell-checking quills, which write your homework for you. Portable swamp boxes, which create an instant swamp wherever you open them. And that's just the beginning. There are miniature pygmy puffs that squeaked when squeezed. There are love potions that make a person fall in love temporarily. There are Weasley fireworks in all shapes and sizes, dragons that fly around the room, stars that explode in showers of sparks, rockets that chase people. The twins turned the art of mischief into a lucrative business. But not everything was just fun. During the war, the twins also created defense products. The shield hats, shield cloaks, and shield gloves became so popular that even the Ministry of Magic placed bulk orders. Fred and George, who were never taken seriously at school, proved to be brilliant entrepreneurs and genuine inventors. Above the shop, the twins had an apartment where they lived, turning Diagon Alley into their home. Unfortunately, Fred Weasley was killed during the Battle of Hogwarts, one of the most tragic losses of the war. But George continued the shop in memory of his brother, keeping alive the spirit of joy and rebellion that always characterized them. Next to Ollivander's shop, we find another essential establishment, Madame Malkin's Robes for All Occasions. This clothing store is where students buy Hogwarts school uniforms, but also sells dress robes, traveling cloaks, and all kinds of wizarding clothing. It was at Madame Malkin's that Harry Potter met Draco Malfoy for the first time, although he only discovered the boy's name later. Harry was being measured for his school uniform, and Draco was doing the same. The conversation wasn't friendly. Draco made derogatory comments about Muggle-borns and boasted about his family, leaving Harry with a negative impression that would be confirmed when the two met again on the Hogwarts Express. The shop itself is spacious and well lit, with mannequins wearing the latest uniforms, magical mirrors that rotate to show all angles, and enchanted tape measures that fly around customers, taking measurements automatically. Madame Malkin, the owner, is a squat and smiling witch who treats all customers with equal courtesy, whether rich or poor, Muggle-born or pure-blood. Continuing down the street, we arrive at Flourish and Blot's, the most complete bookstore in the wizarding world. Flourish and Blot's bookstore is so packed with magic books that it seems to really need magic to keep the shelves from collapsing. This is where Harry, Ron and Hermione buy their school books every year, and the shop is always especially crowded in the weeks before the start of the school year. Entering Flourish and Blot's is like entering a labyrinth of knowledge. Books are stacked to the ceiling, forming precarious towers that somehow never fall. The shelves are so full that books are squeezed horizontally into the spaces between other books. Magical escalators lead to the upper floors, where specialized sections house books on increasingly obscure subjects. On the ground floor, you find textbooks, the standard book of spells, a history of magic, magical theory, but as you go up, the books become more interesting and dangerous. There are books about advanced curses, books about animagi, books about alchemy. And there are books that are downright dangerous. The Invisible Book of Invisibility, which is impossible to find, the Monster Book of Monsters that bites anyone who tries to open it without stroking its spine first. It was at Flourish and Blot's that the infamous confrontation between Lucius Malfoy and Arthur Weasley happened in the summer of 1992. The two patriarchs of the rival families got involved in physical violence inside the shop, punches being exchanged between bookshelves while their families watched in shock. The incident ended with Arthur taking a black eye and Lucius leaving furiously, but not before secretly hiding Tom Riddle's diary in Ginny Weasley's cauldron, starting the chain of events that would lead to the opening of the Chamber of Secrets. Right after the bookstore, we find a much sweeter establishment, Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor has a minor role in the series. Hagrid, on Harry's first visit to Diagon Alley, buys him a large ice cream, and we assume it came from Fortescue's shop. Florian Fortescue was a gentle wizard who loved to chat with customers while serving ice creams of impossible flavors. Chocolate with chopped raspberry and nuts, strawberry with peanut butter, even butterbeer ice cream. During the summer of 1993, when Harry ran away from home and spent 15 days at the Leaky Cauldron, he went almost every afternoon to Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. Florian helped Harry with his history of magic homework, giving information about medieval witch burnings while serving free ice creams. But Florian Fortescue's story has a tragic ending. In the 6th book, we discover that the ice cream parlor disappeared, and the damage done to the shop shows that he didn't leave of his own free will. We imagine he was captured by the Death Eaters. The shop was destroyed, the door forced open, the windows shattered. Florian had been dragged from his establishment and never seen again. He was probably killed by Voldemort or his followers, another innocent victim of the war. Across the street, shining in amber and gold tones, we find the Elops Owl Emporium. This specialized shop sells owls of all breeds and sizes, in addition to supplies to care for them. The windows display majestic perched owls, tawny owls, screech owls, snowy owls like Hedwig. It was here that Hagrid bought Harry's 11th birthday present, the beautiful snowy owl that Harry named Hedwig, a name he found in the book A History of Magic. Hedwig was Harry's first true friend, his loyal companion for years, until being tragically killed by a Death Eater during the Battle of the Seven Potters. But while she lived, she was the most precious gift Harry ever received, a symbol of his new life in the wizarding world. The Elops Owl Emporium doesn't just sell owls. There are also treatments for owl diseases, special food, ornate cages, and even training services. Owls are fundamental in wizarding society, serving as the main means of communication. A well-trained owl can find any person anywhere, no matter how well hidden they are. It's an ability that no Muggle technology has managed to replicate. Near the Emporium, we find another essential shop, the Apothecary. Although its name was never revealed, this shop supplies Hogwarts students with potion ingredients every year. The windows are fascinating and a bit disturbing. Barrels of bat spleens, jars of eel eyes, flasks of frog tongues, bags of powdered billywig stings. When Harry saw the apothecary for the first time, he was very intrigued by the things for sale. There were ingredients that seemed to come from a nightmare. Fat leeches floating in green liquid, dried dragon blood in red crystals, manticore claws preserved in salt. But over time, these ingredients became common to him. After years of cutting valerian roots and measuring cobra scales, even the most bizarre things seemed normal. Right next to the apothecary, we find a shop that makes any young wizard's heart beat faster: quality Quidditch supplies. This shop sells everything related to the wizarding world's most popular sport: brooms, uniforms, protective equipment, training balls. It's paradise for any Quidditch player or fan. It was here that Harry first saw the Nimbus 2000, the fastest racing broom of 1991. Later came the Nimbus 2001 that Lucius Malfoy bought for the entire Slytherin team to ensure his son Draco was accepted as Seeker. And naturally the Firebolt, the fastest and most expensive broom ever made, which Sirius Black gave Harry as a gift. The shop's window constantly changes to display the newest models and most advanced equipment. Mannequins wearing famous team uniforms pose in the windows. Bludgers held by chains tremble, trying to escape and attack anything that moves. The golden snitch in its glass dome flickers its silver wings, reminding everyone how fast and difficult it is to catch during a real match. But not everything in Diagon Alley is light and fun. There are darker places, and none darker than the entrance to Nocturne Alley. Nocturne Alley is a shopping area in Wizarding London. It's accessible through Diagon Alley, but being an area known for housing dark wizards, it's often avoided by most witches and wizards. Near Gringotts Bank, there's a dark alley that branches off from main Diagon Alley. It's narrow, winding, and significantly more sinister than the main street. While Diagon Alley is illuminated and welcoming, Nocturne Alley is dark even during the day. Shops hidden in the shadows sell forbidden objects, dark magic books, potion ingredients that the Ministry would prefer to keep illegal. The most famous shop in Nocturne Alley is Borgin and Burke's, an establishment specializing in objects associated with the dark arts. The windows display disturbing items: a severed hand on a cushion, blood-stained masks hanging, human skulls arranged in circles. It's the kind of place where Death Eaters shop. It was at Borgin and Burke's that Harry Potter accidentally apparated using the Flu network in the summer of 1992, when he mispronounced his destination. Hidden inside a frightening cabinet, Harry watched Lucius and Draco Malfoy examine dark objects, Lucius trying to sell compromising items before the Ministry raided his mansion. Years later, Draco returned to the shop with a sinister mission. Voldemort had ordered him to kill Dumbledore, and Draco used a vanishing cabinet from Borgin and Burke's to create a passage from Hogsmeade directly to Hogwarts, allowing Death Eaters to invade the castle. It was through this cabinet that Hogwarts security was finally violated. During the height of the Second Wizarding War, especially in Harry's last year at Hogwarts when Voldemort controlled the Ministry, Knockturn Alley flourished. Shops that once operated in the shadows now opened their doors without fear. Dark magic objects were sold openly. The distinction between Diagon Alley and Knockturn Alley became blurred, with the entire area becoming darker and more dangerous. When Death Eaters patrolled the streets, good wizards were afraid to shop. Many shops closed permanently. Others operated in constant fear of attacks. Diagon Alley itself, which for centuries had been a safe refuge, became a place of terror. The fall of Gringotts, after Harry, Ron and Hermione's invasion, only increased the panic. Wizards stopped trusting even the bank, fearing their belongings weren't safe. But after Voldemort's defeat in the Battle of Hogwarts, Diagon Alley slowly returned to life. Shops reopened. The lights came back. Wizards filled the streets again, buying cauldrons and wands without fear. Knockturn Alley returned to the shadows where it came from, and dark magic objects went back to being sold furtively, not openly. Beyond the shops we mentioned, Diagon Alley houses dozens of other establishments. There's the magical menagerie, where Hermione bought her cat Crookshanks, a creature with a flat face and orange fur that was part cat, part Kneasel. There's the second-hand cauldron shop, where poorer families like the Weasleys buy used cauldrons at affordable prices. There's Madame Puddifoot's tea shop, technically located in Hogsmeade, but with a branch in the alley, where wizarding couples have romantic dates amid excessively cute decorations. And there are places about which little is known, only mentioned in passing. The Lunatic Spells shop, Obscurus Books, which publishes magic books, second-hand and deluxe, which sells quality used robes. Each establishment has its own history, its own regular customers, its own secrets. But Diagon Alley isn't just commerce, it's also a place where the wizarding community gathers. During important events, wizards from all over the country come to the alley. When new laws are passed, when scandals explode, when tragedies occur, it's in Diagon Alley that the news spreads first. It's the beating heart of British Wizarding Society. And it's worth remembering that Diagon Alley has a peculiar geography. It's not just a straight street. It meanders, twists, with side alleys appearing at strange angles. Some of these lanes lead to more shops, others simply end in dead ends. There are rumors of secret passages connecting different parts of the alley, tunnels known only to the oldest merchants. The architecture itself defies explanation. Buildings that should collapse remain standing. Shops that seem to have only one floor on the outside reveal 5 floors on the inside. Stairs lead to places that shouldn't exist. It's magic, pure and simple, keeping the entire structure intact. During the night, the alley changes completely in character. Most shops close, their windows darkening, but some establishments remain open. The Leaky Cauldron, obviously, always receiving wizards who need a butterbeer or a room for the night. And there are other places, more discreet, where business of dubious nature is conducted after nightfall. Diagon Alley's security is maintained by a combination of ancient spells and Ministry of Magic surveillance. Auras patrol the area regularly, especially during crisis periods. But the true protectors are the spells themselves, woven into the fabric of reality around the alley. Spells that prevent muggles from seeing the place. Spells that alert authorities when dark magic is used. Spells that keep the weather pleasant even when it's raining in the rest of London. Interestingly, The weather inside Diagon Alley doesn't always correspond to the weather outside it. It can be pouring rain in Muggle London while the sun shines in the alley. This is another layer of magic, designed to make the shopping experience more pleasant and also to reinforce the separation between the two worlds. Another fascinating aspect of Diagon Alley is its economy. The coins used there are unique to the wizarding world. Gold galleons, silver sickles, and bronze knuts. One galleon is worth 17 sickles, and one sickle is worth 29 nuts. It's a bizarre mathematical system compared to Muggle decimals, but wizards have gotten used to it over centuries. Prices in the alley vary enormously. A wand from Ollivander's costs 7 galleons, a relatively affordable price considering the wand will last the wizard's lifetime. But a firebolt, the most expensive broom, costs hundreds of galleons, a luxury only the very rich can afford. Schoolbooks cost a few galleons each, and a quality owl-like Hedwig can cost up to 15 galleons. For Muggle-born wizards like Hermione, converting Muggle money to wizarding currency is easy. Gringotts offers exchange services, although the exact rate is never mentioned. Harry discovered that his parents had left a considerable fortune in his account at Gringotts, enough gold to buy everything he needed during his years at Hogwarts, and much more. But for large families like the Weasleys, even with both parents working, feeding and clothing, 7 children was a constant financial challenge. Molly Weasley shopped carefully, buying second-hand cauldrons, sharing books between siblings when possible, making Fred and George's own robes from reused material. It was a reality many wizarding families faced. The wizarding world, despite all its magic, still had rich and poor, privileged and struggling. Diagon Alley is also a place of tradition and ritual. For every young witch or wizard, there's a moment that defines their entry into the magical world. The first visit to the alley to buy school supplies. It's a rite of passage, charged with emotion and meaning. For Harry Potter, that day with Hagrid was the day his life truly began. The day he stopped being just the boy who lived in the cupboard under the stairs and became Harry Potter, the wizard. Generations of wizarding families have gone through this same experience. Grandparents take grandchildren, parents take children, older siblings drag younger siblings. It's a tradition that unites the wizarding community, a shared moment that everyone understands. And at Ollivander's, when the right wand finds its owner, when sparks fly and eyes light up, Garrick Ollivander always says the same thing, with a mixture of joy and mystery in his voice. Curious, very curious. Because for him, each wand is a story waiting to happen. Each young wizard who leaves his shop carries not just a piece of wood with a magical core, but the potential for greatness or tragedy, for heroism or villainy. Ollivander saw Tom Riddle choose his wand. He saw Albus Dumbledore, he saw James and Lily Potter, and he saw Harry, the boy who lived, pick up the sister wand to the one that had created the greatest dark wizard in history. Diagon Alley is, ultimately, more than just a shopping centre. It's a symbol of the wizarding world's resistance, of its capacity to exist side by side with the Muggle world without being discovered. A symbol of the magical community's unity, where wizards of all classes and origins mingle, and a symbol of hope, because no matter how dark things get, no matter how many times Death Eaters attack or Voldemort returns, the alley always survives. After the Battle of Hogwarts and Voldemort's final defeat, Diagon Alley experienced a true renaissance. Florian Fortescue's ice cream parlour was reopened by new owners, honouring his memory. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes became more popular than ever, with George expanding the business and eventually finding joy again, even without his twin brother. Ollivander's continued making wands, now for a new generation growing up in peace. Gringotts implemented new security measures after the invasions, but also improved the treatment of its dragons. The dragon that Harry, Ron and Hermione freed was never recaptured. and new protocols were established to ensure that guard creatures were treated more humanely. The goblins, although still resentful of the history of subjugation by wizards, maintained professional relations with the ministry, and there were conversations about equal rights that had never happened before the war. Diagon Alley, in turn, was subject to much stricter regulations. While it was never completely closed, freedom was too important to post-Voldemort wizarding society. Shops that sold really dangerous objects were closely monitored. Borgin and Burke survived, but under constant surveillance by auras. And the children kept coming. Every summer, a new batch of first-year students crosses the brick wall behind the leaky cauldron, their eyes widening with the wonder of what they find on the other side. They run to Ollivanders to choose their wands. They press their noses against the window of quality Quidditch supplies, dreaming of the day they'll be part of their house team. They timidly enter Flourish and Blots, overwhelmed by the absolute amount of magical knowledge available. And when the Hogwarts Express departs from platform 9 3/4, taking them to their new life, their bags are full of treasures from Diagon Alley. Gleaming cauldrons, new robes, books smelling of knowledge, owls blinking in their cages, chocolate frogs in their pockets. Every item bought in the alley carries with it a little piece of that special magic, that feeling of belonging to a bigger and more wonderful world than they ever imagined. Diagon Alley remains, as it always has, as a portal between the ordinary and the extraordinary. It's where the impossible becomes possible, where magic isn't just real but commercialized, quantified, sold for galleons and sickles. It's noisy and crowded, smelling of parchment and potions, echoing with the chirping of owls and the clinking of gold coins in velvet pouches. And in the middle of all this, if you pay very close attention, you can still hear the echoes of 1,000 years of history. The clanging of a goblin's hammer forging Gringotts' first coin. The satisfied sigh of Ollivander's first customer when they found their perfect wand. The laughter of Fred and George Weasley planning their next great invention. Harry Potter's cry of joy when he saw real magic for the first time. Diagon Alley was and always will be the heart of the British wizarding world. It's where stories begin. It's where dreams come true. It's where magic lives, not in books or wands, but in the people who walk those cobblestone streets, carrying bags full of wonders and hearts full of hope. And now that you know the complete history of this extraordinary place, from its ancient foundations to its renaissance after the war, from Gringotts' deep vaults to the colourful shelves of Weasley's wizard wheezes, you understand why every witch and wizard carries Diagon Alley in their heart. Because it's not just a place where you buy things. It's the place where you discover who you really are. It's where your magical journey begins. And for those who dream of visiting, who close their eyes and imagine crossing that brick wall, who long to see the wands choosing their owners and dragons guarding treasures, remember, magic isn't just in Diagon Alley. Magic is in believing that places like this can exist, in imagining a world where the impossible is every day, where the difference between the magical and the mundane is just a brick wall and the right words to open it. Diagon Alley teaches us that magic exists in the margins, in the spaces between what's known and what's possible. And perhaps, just perhaps, if you look carefully enough, if you believe strongly enough, you too can find your own version of this magical street. This place where your dreams are real and where your true journey can begin. This was the complete history of Diagon Alley, the beating heart of the wizarding world, the place where magic doesn't just exist, but thrives. Thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with other fans of the Harry Potter universe. See you on the next magical journey.